Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is how do you stop absorbing a negative person's energy? How do you protect yourself? So this is a great question. So I think we're really going to dive into this and go pretty deep in order to explain some ideas and tools exactly that, how to protect yourself from negative people's energy. But before we get started, I just want to give a super huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel. Thank you so much. It is wonderful and awesome to hear from you. We have Scotland in the house. We've got Australia in the house. We've got UK in the house. We've got the United States, the Great Midwest in the house. So thank you so much for your donations. Once again, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to host these topics and address your questions and concerns that come up while you're in relationships with individuals. So I'm so glad you have found a resource and tools. So absolutely positively, if this channel has been a positive influence to you, please do feel free to participate and donate at the PayPal Donate Now button here on YouTube. I've been requested to put that there, so thank you so much. So let's really kind of dive in a little bit more in depth on what does it mean to stop absorbing a negative person's energy. When we look at really sort of quantum physics and really sort of the truth of things, everything is energy. Everything is energy, and down to the molecules, down to the atoms, down to the electrons. Things have an energetic component to them. But, we're not talking just about physical objects right now. We're speaking actually about people's energy. And when we talk about someone who has negative energy, oftentimes it is in a sort of vacuous nature or something that they take away from us or from an individual, which is necessary for their survival, what I call their thrival, their growth, their peace, and their happiness. People talk about the chi, the chi in the life force and things, and energy can be very negative, damaging, or deleterious in nature when we talk about human being interactions on this physical earth plane. There's all sorts of personality types under the sun. But when we really look at, and really kind of get to the bare bones of it, there's positive and there's negative. And there's negative people who take our energy, our life force away, who, by virtue of this or as an aftermath, we feel less than, we feel degraded, we feel corrupted, we feel we've been taken advantage of, we feel that it was unjust, unfair. We just feel drained, and oftentimes that you can notice this as a red flag or an experience within yourself. And whether we're calling them narcissist, psychopathic, sociopathic, there's a feeling that this person is sort of either a distraction, or they're taking attention or energy away from a focus which is in our best interest. So there's a sort of taking away of positive focus when you're around specific types of individuals. And whether they're narcissistic, whether they're pathologically self-absorbed, have this really puffed up self-interest about them, and they're, no one else can touch them. They're the untouchable. They're so smart. They're the CEO or the CIO or the business owner or the executive or whoever it is, the artist, the musician, all sorts of different fields will draw these types of individuals who have a sort of pathological sense of self-importance, and coupled with a lack of empathy, meaning when you get into conversations with them, it's all about them. And a lot of people don't see this. They just think, oh wow, here's this person who's just like super confident, and they have this big talk. They've got big hats but no cattle. They're just always, they seem like they're talking up, if they're in business, about all these big accomplishments. But, they, they tend to then just sort of annihilate other people's viewpoints, their needs, and the other people's accomplishments in the same breath. So, in other words, there's always, so it's just like a self propaganda, I think you would kind of equate it to. And once you've worked or studied within this niche or this population, you can see it, a mile away. It becomes apparent. There's an energetic field around them, which oftentimes people will see that person's a real head turner. And it doesn't always have to be like physical attractiveness, but there's an energy that emanates from them, an etheric energy. So the heart has a lot of emotional electric energy emanating out of it. Sort of different areas of the body, but particularly, there's a sort of feeling around their etheric energy field that there's this pulling. In other words, they want you to obey. They want you to have all eyes on them. They want you to stroke their ego. They want you to listen to their stories. They want to arrange things so that you're always, going, to see them if they're a performer, or you're going to do this, do that, follow their rules. It's their way or the highway. Agree with all of their opinions. They want people who are basically like a posse or a group around them, meaning their supply source, their supporters. And this, once you're around it, it can be very draining. There are people who talk so much about themselves and have only their rules, their terms, their viewpoint, their philosophy, their political views, their religion. It can be very rigid. And to get along with these people, oftentimes they will draw a lot of energy out of you just to keep the relationship going. And this can be very negative. It can cause people a lot of anxiety. It can cause people a lot of self-doubt. What's wrong with me? I feel that, I feel very uneasy around this person. I feel that, is there something I'm missing here? Because this person is not all that. There's this feeling of, you better check within. And this feeling of being empty is a good indicator that you need to protect your energy in your energetic space with boundaries and standards. I repeat this again and again because it's so important that you acknowledge that there has to be energetic boundaries around you, meaning this is, the positive zone. This is the peace zone. This is the empowered zone. They'll take your power away. People say, I don't know, I just keep giving my power away. I keep doing all these good things for this person and they're unappreciative. I keep, telling them how good they are and they just don't respond. They're not very responsive and I'm so positive and I don't get why. Well, there's oftentimes a very negative energy that you can be absorbing around this person. And the negative energy is really sort of a feeling of insecurity, I feel, that's housed deep within them. So when you've had to cater to somebody's needs, always laughing at their jokes, always reacting to them, there's this feeling, of giving them affection, giving them attention, giving, over obligating to them, staying up too late, spending more money than you intended, all sorts of different things, giving them the shadow of the doubt, giving them excuses, enabling them, all these different behaviors which are depleting in nature because you're not receiving. You're not receiving like energy in return. What you're getting is basically something either that's very superficial, that's very glib, that is not holding any water. It doesn't hold any content. It doesn't hold any substance. You feel like there's something missing. This negative energy also then breeds self-doubt, lack of self-trust, and then this can spread into all other areas of, their environment because that's now their new foundation. They identify with being this sort of not knowing about me or not wanting to talk about myself, not being able to go out and, have an ego or feel that you fit in or a sense of belonging. That is because oftentimes, especially, if this has been people who you have met since your youth, children are like a sponge. Teenagers are like a sponge. Young 20s, 30s, 40s, there's people are like a sponge, especially early in life, and they tend to absorb and retain a lot of the images and feelings that were imprinted during these times. So you might have like a great concert or a great sporting event or a great project that you accomplished, and you have that within you. You have that experience. You have that accomplishment under your belt. It's a source of pride. It's a feel-good thing. So, just recall some of those. Maybe the first time you rode a bike, the first time you baked a cake, the first time you made a turkey, the first time you painted your house, or the first time you got your puppy. These are really impressionable times. Maybe a beautiful sunset and you said, wow, everything is coming together. Everything is in alignment. And you felt at one with that, and you felt good. So those are feel good experiences. When we talk, and I want you to recall those because it's very important that you keep that going. I call that positive, orderly direction, thinking, feeling, and behaving. Now, there's people who will be to the contrary or to the antithesis of this. In fact, people who don't live there. They don't want you to be able to experience this. In other words, they're the sabotagers. They're the criticizers. They're the ones who make the big picture very small. All of a sudden, things seem to rotate and pivot around them. What they're doing, what they're making, what they're wearing, what their health is, what their opinion is. It's like this, and everything begins to be about them. That's a huge red flag that you're with someone who is an energy vampire, someone who drains your energy, someone who has too many issues, too many problems, and they just can't enjoy the simplicity and the simple things of life. They can't, they can't just watch a movie without having, something to say that makes them look good, and it sort of degrades you in the process. Whether it's name dropping or I, me, did this, and it's just sort of, there's a separateness that you feel. Separateness can be a very de-energizing, disempowering state to be in. When you're in a state of anxiety, depression, guilt, remorse, feeling of apathy, feeling of hopelessness, these are your energy zappers. And people, interactions and experience can serve as energy zappers. They just take out your juice. They take out your joy, your will to live, your ambition. And oftentimes it's those people who have a pathological sense of self-importance that will do this or have this as an outcome of their relationship. And then you're left kind of with the balance sheet, the emotional balance sheet. Something doesn't add up. I'm not feeling good. I feel lonely. I feel depressed. I feel that my needs haven't been met. I'm not fulfilled. I feel like I can't live my life in the right way. There's this aftermath. There's this emotional balance sheet that goes, whoop, I'm emotionally bankrupt. I am spent. I'm done for. I give up. I can't, this is overwhelming. And, these circumstances need to be flushed out of your energetic circle. The etheric body really stretches out 8 to 9 feet, around you and above you and, all around. It's your etheric energy. You can feel it. It's a palpable thing. And we've done this before, but, you can go like this with your hands and you can feel kind of an energy within you. Your central nervous system and your parasympathetic nervous system are electrical in nature. There's, they wire and fire. There's electrical activity in the brain and in the heart, all through your body. And the situation, the circumstance can be either conducive, i.e. pleasurable, comfortable, uplifting, clear. You've got a clarity of focus. around these settings or people, or it can be negative. It can be dark. It can be heavy. It can be laden with fear, discomfort, and you can feel almost like an energy change. When you go into environments where some of these people are, and all of a sudden the mood changes. You can say there's tension in the air. It's a palpable thing, meaning you can touch it, you can really feel it. It is real. It's not like you're making something up. This is very, you can test this yourself. Go and walk through the mall or a neighborhood, and see if you can feel the energy of different neighborhoods, of different people. You can feel either a peaceful energy, content energy, playful energy, things that are positive, and then things that are sort of dangerous, negative. You are on pins and needles. You don't want to go there. It's a warning. This is the etheric energy. So you have to understand then it is important for you to take responsibility and accountability for your own feel state, because this then reflects inward into your DNA, how you think, how you feel, and then that emotional etheric energy which runs through your body. In stress and anxiousness, and feeling that you're not good enough, or that threatening feeling, can really begin to break down your vital tissues. It can electrically, it can be very paralyzing. People aren't motivated to get up and do something like keep a routine or, clean their house. They're down to paper plates. They don't even want to wash their dishes. It becomes this sort of consuming energy. The thing you can tell is that negative energy, it feels like it's consuming you. It's taking away from you. And versus sort of giving or supportive energy, which is always in your best interest. Whether this is a place, whether it's a person, whether it's a project, something in your calendar, something that is good for you and energizing and supporting, or not energizing, unsupportive, negative, dense, heavy in nature, dark, burdensome, cumbersome. Well, peace and harmony, maybe I just, don't know how to deal with it. Well, you do know how to deal with it. Once you kind of learn and watch some of these videos, you'll learn the understanding that you have an energy field running through you, which is the divine, which is your magnificence, and is there to guide you once you pay attention to what's going on within, instead of paying attention to what's going on without. The narcissist or toxic people love to be the center of attention. Negative, positive, the drama queen, the one with the loud voice, the one with the flashiest whatever, they love to be the center of attention. They will have all eyes on them, all ears. So there's people who thrive on this feeling of being the center of attention. However, this is not always in your best interest to give your attention away. And to give your power away. We talk about being empowered, and we talk about your good qualities, and realizing that this is yours to give, and it's also yours to protect. And when you find that you're giving a lot of your goodness to someone who does not reciprocate in kind, there's a feeling of betrayal. There's a feeling of sort of being defeated, a sort of feeling of being hurt, a feeling of being not appreciated, taken advantage of. And especially when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they will take until the tube is run dry, until it's all squeezed out, until you can't give anymore. They are the takers of the world. So this negative energy is something that, you can begin to identify with. And, what I would do is begin to do like a body scan. Begin to pay more attention to what's going on inside of you, especially when, nowadays there's, narcissistic, psychopathic individuals who are vying for your attention, and who are distracting to you and perhaps negative, so you need to be able to know how to stop the distraction and take your eyes and ears and energy off of them, and then place it on what is good, what is positive, and and be able to identify then what is a red flag, and to say, okay, I see that now. I'm not going to allow my energy to just drift off and be, just go into a situation where I am not getting my needs met. In other words, where I'm waffling or floundering around in a relationship, fighting a lot, things of that nature. And, and so this negative energy you need to be able to protect yourself and have tools, particularly that of boundaries, particularly that of standards. In other words, here's where I say no, and here's where I say yes. And that's a boundary around you. In other words, nope, it's like it's drawn in the cement, it's drawn, with a permanent marker. This is my boundary, i.e., everything within this space. This is a peaceful space, and your body needs to be able to then register peace. It needs to be able to register and be receptive to the positive, so it can be clear and then see what is negative and say no to the negative. A lot of people, their body and their mind and their gut and their heart are out of sync. They're incongruent, and they're not sort of on that right path because they're not listening to the voice within. They're shutting it down. They're telling it, I can't be disciplined. That is, a boundary and a standard is what we call emotional discipline, to be a disciple of, to be able to acknowledge what is yours, and that energy, that consciousness that pervades through your body, and your sensitivity to this, and to heed what your body is telling you, what your heart is telling you, what your gut is telling you, your instinct. It might come as a flash. It might come in 6 seconds, and you might need to write it down, because your voice is trying to speak up and say, this isn't working out. This is not right. This is not fair. This is unjust. This is hurtful to me. And then you're indulging in this negative or this energy, which is depleting you, because oftentimes people do get addicted to this negativity. In other words, they're waiting for that really great win, and then here comes back all the negativity again. But they get addicted to the negativity. They get addicted to the anger. They get addicted to the fighting. They get addicted to the yelling. Here comes our blood is curdling now, or whatever. Our blood is boiling, and then we're yelling, and then the door slam. So people then get addicted to this negativity. And then I call it's very much like the climax and then the anticlimax. The climax and then the anticlimax. So here's this addiction to this cycle. And, and depending how long it stays there and how long it tapers down, can be different for every person. However, anger is something that really stays within people. If the negativity is anger that you have absorbed, it's not like a flash in the pan. There's your slippery omelet. It just flew out. Your anger tends to stay with people. It doesn't just glide off you, like a nonstick pan. It's very sticky, it's very heavy, it's very dense. It has a lot of negative but energy to it. So there's a certain payoff. People get fueled up, they get riled up. They get this sort of feeling of importance or significance by this anger. That is a negative energy source. Oh yeah, there's reasons to get angry. To bottle up all of your feelings. Oh, I just lost my home. There's appropriate anger and there's inappropriate anger. People whose, reactions are like way up here for little things, that's an anger problem. These people can be your energy vampires, and also oftentimes their perceptions of others and their interactions with others are blown completely out of proportion. Meaning, like a viewer said, I couldn't, my fork, I didn't push the food on my plate the right way. In other words, I should have the rice over here and the meat over here, or my veggies this. Nothing that person did what was accepted. Everything was subject to being ostracized, being targeted, being shamed for their own behavior. So these people, can be also very controlling, and there's an anger or hostility behind it, and it creates a very angry or hostile environment. Anger and hostility is very destructive. It causes people to break down emotionally, physically, psychologically, and then they're clinging then to the spirit, which is really where you need to be, and then open that up and open up that big picture. People can be very hurt, and these feelings can be, held onto for a long period of time. Meaning, they will never forget, that what that person did, what they said, how they were treated, and then the ramifications and the results of that. So people then kind of have this sort of ruminating or replaying in their mind. That's what anger will do. It's not like, it's not like it just came and went really quick. A lot of people hold on to anger. There's these emotions rise very quickly, but they taper very slowly. So you see, that's why you see a lot of people who watch these negative, this negative news. It's got this shock and awe to it. And oftentimes that can be the emotional result of relationships with someone who is really egocentric. It's all about them. There is no big picture. There is no fairness. There is no give and take. And you're not receiving what you need to receive. So you get starved out emotionally. And and then people then become receptive to more negativity because they're trying to fulfill this cycle. So it's very important that you understand that how negativity works, to recognize it, and what it's like out there, outside of you, and what it feels like when it's registered, and then how to clear that slate, to clear that grid, to exit that matrix of confusion or chaos or anger, or what I call stepping in the boxing ring. Don't step into it. It's literally like an energy. Whoop, I'm in it now. Step out. Oh, I'm in that negative. Step out. Step away from the negativity. Literally, you need to understand that if you see this coming, you can basically do an energy block. Just confirm in your mind that you have an energy block. So there's an image that you can conjure up and pull up within you, just like a gymnast who's about to do a great floor dance, and she's envisioning her whole gym routine. You have the same protection that you can do, but it's an emotional image that you have for yourself, an emotional energy block that you put up to protect yourself from this person. And it's going to feel very pure. It might be very strong yellow light. It might be very strong pink light. But there's a definiteness of purpose and a definiteness of shape and a definiteness of energy that surrounds and is within and encased within that energetic field that you are, where you are. You have the right to be in a peaceful body and have your body in homeostasis, in ease, in comfort, in happiness, in contentment, in beauty, in magnificence. A lot of people don't ever get to feel that because they're always around either this negative energy, or they've been carrying this negative energy with them, like they're dragging that 50-pound bag of raw chicken, like when Oprah did that, that weight loss challenge, and she lost the 65 pounds, and she's like, this is what it looks like. That's really what, carrying around anger is like. You're literally carrying it around. It literally can be backbreaking. It literally can make your shoulder slump. It can literally make you, fall out of exhaustion. And so it's to realize letting go is just that. It's like letting go of that burden. I'm not carrying that anymore. I'm not carrying it energetically. And you need to get an image of yourself free of that burden. And, I don't want to call it a burden. I love this person. I loved this person. This person was good then. This person helped me. Things were wonderful. Things were awesome. But there's also a good with the bad and the bad with the good. So you have to let go and let go of that negativity so it doesn't enter into that space. And then protect yourself energetically with having that image of yourself completely protected, like, have you heard, the no complaint zone? the no pity party zone, the no negativity zone. People might have that, put up as a poster at their workplace. Only smiles, only positivity here. Well, it's like only clear, clean, high energy here. We're running on clear, clean, peaceful, and empowered, harmonizing energy here. That is the fuel. That is the fuel that we are running on. That is the essence. That is what we're running on. And it's like an eternal energy. In other words, it just keeps going and re-energizes itself, and it doesn't get tarred up. It doesn't get gooked up. It is based on clarity, and it's based on peace and feeling well and being accepted and loved exactly for who I am, and not being, and not subject to attack. So anything else that's done can just sort of bounce off. So there's a number of ways you have to understand, a little bit about human physiology and the art and science of clearing that space that you own, that you always have, whether you're making your dinner, you're mowing your lawn, you're cleaning your basement. You have that within you. You have that clarity. You have that peace. You have that empowerment. You are in that higher consciousness. You're in awareness. You're observing and responding. You're not out of control and in anxiety. You're attracted to more of the awe-inspiring things, and you're in alignment with that. That is really what you want to call forth and keep as a shield for yourself. It's an internal emotional state. And we're going to wrap up now. We have so much more to talk about. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out. Make it a beautiful day.